do a gentle, slow yoga practice today. So just to kind of calm the mind and relax ourselves a little bit. I've been liking to doing these practices more frequently during these crazy times. So let's find a meditation pose of your choice, cross-legged or lying on your back. You can, if you lie on your back, you can stay in like a Supta Baddha Konasana with the soles of your feet together. Or you can keep your legs extended and just lay in like a Shavasana-like position. And just settle in your meditation pose of choice. If you're seated, just make sure you're grounded into your sit bones with a tall spine, shoulders relaxed, and a soft gaze. We'll start to find your breath. So we're going to start with your deep inhales in to your belly, filling up through your belly, up through your chest, and then exhaling out through nose or mouth. Nice, easy breaths through your nose or mouth. We're taking it slow today, so there's no rush. And just try to find that present moment, focusing inward, putting any of what happened today or what's happening over the weekend aside, and start to focus in on yourself. We're going to start a breath exercise. So we're going to breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold at the top. Then exhale out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold at the top. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can continue on this breath cycle, or you can add additional breaths, or maybe even decrease your breath. We're using our breath to just calm our minds and our nerves. Sometimes we forget to sit and breathe and just take it in. We'll take a couple more rounds of breath in our seated meditation. Continue to breathe mindfully and with intention. And we'll take one more inhale in, filling up through our belly, up through our chest. And then exhaling out all the air out through nose or mouth. And then opening your eyes. We're going to start our seated stretch series that I like to do in class. So we're going to inhale, sweep our arms up tall, and then exhale, side bend to the right. Gaze up at the ceiling. Inhale tall. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale tall. Exhale, twist to the right. And gaze is over your right shoulder. Inhale tall. Exhale, twist to the left. Gaze over your left shoulder. Inhale, rise up. And let's interlace our fingers, flip our palms up, take a long body stretch here. Then we'll exhale, release our hands behind us. And we'll interlace our fingers behind us. And then our inhale, we'll lift our arms up and puff our chest up and out. And we drop our head back for a little back bend. Then inhale, release, arms up tall. And exhale, hinge at your hips. Take a seated forward fold and relax your neck. Take a few breaths here. And then on your next inhale, we'll curl our spine up one vertebra at a time. Head comes last. Shoulders pull down. If you're sitting on a blanket, you can just put that aside. So we're gonna lay on our backs. We're gonna do a few poses on our backs to start off with. So we'll lay on our backs, legs extended, arms are above our head. So we're taking a long body stretch here, like a good morning stretch. And then from here, we're gonna bend our knees, feet flat on the floor. We're gonna pick our hips up off the mat and shift our hips to the right, then extend our legs. And we're gonna create like a C shape or a banana shape with our body. So it's gonna give you a body like a side stretch on the right. So we wanna ground our hips into the mat. You have the option here to cross your right ankle above your left ankle. And so your arms are still extended above you, and you can place your right hand on top of left. It's a little bit of a side stretch, as I said. Then we'll slowly release from our shape and shift our hips to the center. Take another long body stretch to kind of reset, and we'll do the other side. Then we'll pick our hips up, shift our hips to the left, and then create that shape. I think I got my sides mixed up, so I believe we did the right side on the other side. Just grounding our hips and our shoulders into the mat. And you remember your option, you can cross your ankle out across on the top of the other. And then we'll release, place our feet on the mat and shift our hips back to center. Take another long body stretch. And then from here, we're gonna do what's called the dead bug core series. So so our arms are above our head, legs extended in front of us. So we're gonna lift our right arm tall, and then we're gonna lift our left leg tall. And then we're gonna alternate this motion. So then it's left arm tall, right leg tall, and just alternate with your breath, moving with intention, keeping a strong core, your hips and your shoulders grounded into the mat. Do a couple more rounds of these. Do one more. And then release. Take another long body stretch here. And then from here, let's bring our feet flat on the mat and our knees are bent. We'll bring our knees to chest. And then we'll bring our big toes to touch. So we're going to open up our knees and close like a book. Just moving with your breath. Gentle hip opening stretch. You can have your hands on your knees. Do a couple more rounds. And then release your hands. And we'll bring our legs to about that 90-degree angle with our feet flexed. Actually, our feet will be pointed in this one. And then we're going to do toe taps. So alternate at a time for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So back to our little tabletop and then release our feet. And then from here, we'll walk our feet to the white. And then we'll shift our knees to the right for a windshield wiper motion. So you can move as quickly or slowly as you'd like. You can like hold one side and take a few breaths, then move. Just kind of go at your own pace. So you can do like breath to movement or just hold for a few breaths and then move. Just what feels good for you in this moment. Nice gentle stretch for our lower back. Take a few more breaths here. And then back to center. And then let's make our way to the tabletop. And then find our ways to hands and knees. So our wrists are directly under shoulders, knees directly under hips. So we have a long spine and our neck is long. So from here, we're gonna start our cat and cow flow. So our inhale, we'll drop our belly, head rises for cow. Exhale for cat, spine curls up, head drops. Inhale into cow. Exhale to cat. And you can introduce any other spinal movements you would like. You can move from side to side, shift into a scorpion up dog or child's pose. Or you can try that little breath movement exercise we did on Tuesday, rising up on your knees to cat. Just what feels good for you right now. Just exploring your movement and what feels best for you. Take a few more rounds with your spinal movement. I'll take one more inhale and then exhale back into a tabletop position, your neutral spine. So from here, we're going to do what's called a tiger flow. And it's called tiger pose. And then we'll bring our knee towards our nose. So it's a little gentle ab exercise. So on our inhale, we're going to lift our left knee and pointing our left foot. And we kind of have our belly dropping like in cow. And then on our exhale, we're going to curl our spine up and head drops like cat, and bringing that knee towards forehead. Inhale, rise up to tiger. Exhale to knee to nose. We'll do it one more time. Inhale to tiger. And then exhale, knee to nose. And then release back into tabletop. So we'll do the other side. So our inhale, lift our right leg, pointing that right foot. Belly drops, head rises. Exhale, spine curls up, head drops, knee to nose for one. Inhale, rise up to tiger. Exhale, knee to nose for two. Inhale, rise up for tiger. And then exhale one more time to knee to nose. And then inhale, release to tiger, and then we'll release to tabletop. Okay, from our tabletop, we're gonna do a low lunge. So we're gonna step our right foot in between our hands. And depending if you're on a carpeted space or not, if you're on a hardwood floor, you might wanna fold your mat in half to give your knee some support, your back knee support, or you can grab a blanket. So you can guide that back leg back, and that left leg is straight behind you. And that front leg is at about a 90-degree angle. And then when we're ready, we'll lift our arms up tall. You can have a little bit of a bend in your back. We're pressing our hips forward. Take a couple of breaths here. And then on our next exhale, we'll bring our hands down, back into tabletop. So we'll do the other side. So we'll bring our left foot forward into our low lunge, guiding our right leg back straight behind us, making sure our left leg's at about that 90-degree angle. And then when you're ready, you're gonna lift your arms up. Arms up tall, you can have a little bit of a bend in your back, guiding our hips forward, feeling a nice hip stretch. Take a few breaths. Take one more inhale in, exhale out, release your hands, back into tabletop. So from here, we're gonna take a child's pose. So you can take any version of child's pose. You can have your knees together or your knees are wide, big toes to touch, and then you'll lower down in your child's pose. So extend your arms forward. So your forehead can be on the mat or resting on a block. Your block can help you underneath your hips too for a little bit of support. So we're just going to settle in into our child's pose, keeping a long spine, and just breathing in and out. Nice, slow breaths. Take one more inhale in. Exhale out, release. So we're going to walk our hands off the left side of the mat. And then dropping our forehead. Taking a nice stretch on the right side. In our next inhale, walk hands back to center. And then exhale, let's walk our hands off to the right. Feeling the stretch on the left side. And then back to center. And we'll make our way back into tabletop. So we're going to do puppy pose. We've done this pose before. So I'm going to give you another option. So if you have your blocks, you can use them for this one or not. It's okay. So I'm going to demonstrate with my blocks for one version. So you're in tabletop and you place your blocks underneath your hands. And then you walk your hands forward and then release down your forehead to mat, making sure your hips are still raised up. That's one option. Or you can bring your blocks back into tabletop and then place your elbows on top of the blocks and then dropping your head between the blocks. And you're like in a reverse prayer. So you can use this with or without the blocks for either version. So the blocks help give you a little bit more lift in your pose. I like the prayer hands version because it seems to give me a nice shoulder stretch. So it might vary for you. And just adjust where necessary. Take a few more breaths. Take one more inhale in. Exhale out completely. Let's release our hands if you're in that prayer position or in regular puppy pose. Place your blocks aside if you use them. And we'll end up back into tabletop. In our tabletop, we're going to make our way into probably one of the only downward facing dogs we'll take. So we'll tuck our toes under, lift our hips up for our downward facing dog. So remember, in your downward facing dog, your hands are about shoulder distance apart, feet are hip distance apart, and fingers are wide. You have a long spine from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And have as much of a bend in your knee as you'd like. You can start to pedal your heels out, shaking your head yes and no, loosening up your neck. Let's move with your breath. And then from here, we're going to tiptoe our feet up to the top of the mat. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart, and we'll take a ragdoll pose for, I'm going to give you two different variations. So you can grab opposite elbows and just rock side to side, or you can interlace your fingers and place them on the back of your head. And you can place gentle pressure on the back of your head. You can move side to side. It's just what version feels good for you. Sometimes it's good to mix things up. A few more rounds of breath. One more inhale in. Exhale completely. Let's release our hands. And then from here, let's curl up our spine, one vertebra at a time. Head comes last. Palms face forward. So we're in our mountain pose. Feet about hip distance apart, shoulders pulled down. And then from here, I'm gonna teach you chair pose. So our feet are hip distance apart. And then on our inhale, we're gonna shift our hips back like we're sitting in a chair. And then we'll lift our arms up tall. So the key in chair pose is to have a long spine, like in a lot of our other poses, and our weight's in our heels, and just start to guide your hips down. You want to make sure your knees are not going over your toes, keeping those strong arms. And then from here, we're going to move, kind of do a breath to movement. So on our exhale, we're going to take a forward fold. And then inhale, rise up to chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to chair. We're gonna do it one more time. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up to chair, and then back up into high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay. So we're gonna do some standing poses in our mountain pose. On our inhale, we're gonna sweep our arms up tall, high mountain. Exhale, we're gonna twist to the right. So our right arm forward, left arm sweeps back, hips are square, gaze to the right. We'll hold this for a couple breaths since we're kind of moving at a slow pace. Then inhale, high mountain. Exhale, twist to the left. So right arm forward, left arm back, gaze to the left. And then inhale, rise up to center, or rise up tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, from here, let's interlace your fingers behind our head. I'll step back so you can see me better. And then we're gonna do some side stretches. So on our next exhale, we're gonna side bend to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale to center. Let's release our hands up to high mountain pose. And then exhale, cactus your arms, chest lifts up for our little back bend. Inhale, tall to high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, I'm gonna do some half salutations. We won't do full ones in this practice today. So our inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, hinge at your hips, flat back, forward fold. Inhale, forward, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise your arms up tall, high mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll do a couple more. Inhale, high mountain pose. Exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up, high mountain pose. Do one more. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rise up tall. High mountain pose. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, we'll release your hands. So we're gonna do some static poses. So from our mountain pose, we'll step our left leg back to our high lunge. So check in, we're gonna check in our alignment first, make sure our right leg's at about that 90-degree angle and our back foot, or the back ball of our foot, is pressed into the mat. Hips face forward. When you're ready, sweep your arms up for a crescent lunge. Pull shoulders pulled down, palms face forward, and just keep breathing. We'll take one more round of breath. Deep inhale in, exhale out, and then on inhale in, and then on exhale, we'll open up to a warrior two. So back foot's parallel to the back edge of the mat. Right leg's at about that 90-degree angle. Check in on your hips, make sure they're facing to the left side of the room. And then when you're ready, tee out your arms for your warrior two. Shoulders pull down, strong arms. And then on our next inhale, we'll reach forward, flip that front palm, sweep our right arm above our head. But this variation of reverse warrior, we're gonna bring both hands together, both palms to touch. So it's a little bit different variation, but same concept. So we're feeling that stretch in the right side of our body. And then on our next exhale, we're gonna release our palms. We're gonna go into a variation of extended side angle. So we're not gonna bend all the way over. So it's a side stretch to the right. And our palms are kind of a space apart like this. You can't see me completely, but you're guiding your body over to the right. And you're hovering above that right leg. Pretend you're grabbing a beach ball. That's a good way to describe it. Or a block. A block would probably be a better option. And then inhale, we'll rise up into our warrior two. And then step forward to mountain pose. So we're gonna do those poses on the other side. So we're gonna step our right foot back into that high lunge position. Checking in on your left leg, make sure that's about at that 90-degree angle. And our back foot's pressed, or back ball of our foot is pressed into the mat, hips face forward. Raise your arms up for a crescent warrior. Shoulders pulled down. Just remember to keep breathing mindfully. There's no rush. Just remember that deep belly breathing. And then on our next exhale, we'll open it up to warrior two. So our back foot's parallel to the back edge of the mat. Left leg's still at that about that 90-degree angle. Our hips are facing over to the right. Arms at a T, strong arms, gaze over our left hand. And then on our next inhale, we'll reach forward, front palm flips up, sweep your left arm up, and then we'll bring both palms together for our reverse warrior variation. Gazing up at the ceiling, feeling a nice stretch on the left side of our body. Then on our next exhale, we're gonna take a side bend towards the left. So we'll release our palms, pretending you're grabbing onto that yoga block, opening up our chest for that extended side angle variation. Keeping your arms long and strong. Then inhale, rise up to a T. And then exhale, step forward to our mountain pose. Okay. And then from here, we're gonna take a big step on our left leg. We're gonna step our left leg back into a big stance. So we're facing the, it would be the left side of your room. So we're in our preparing for a star pose. So we wanna make sure our feet are at about, let's do 45-degree angles. So toes out, heels in. Hands at our hips for a minute. Next inhale, tee out your arms for star pose. And then on our next exhale, we're gonna squat down for a goddess pose, or actually horse pose. So horse pose is when you bring your palms to touch, like in prayer hands. So you can stay here or shift from side to side. Yogi's choice. And then inhale back into star pose. Now we'll adjust our feet to star pose. So from here, we're gonna do a little balance challenge here. So we're gonna start to shift weight into our right foot. It's called falling star. So we lift our left leg off of the mat. And we can bring our arms over to the right. And then exhale, release back into star pose. And then we'll do the other side. So we start to shift weight into our left foot. And then lift our right leg up. And then bringing our arms above our head, falling star or balancing star. And then inhale back into star. And then check in on your feet, make sure they're parallel. Then on your exhale, hinge at your hips. We'll take a wide-legged forward fold, or you can take half fold with your palms on your shin with a flat back. It's yogi's choice. If you want block support, you can grab them and place them underneath your hands to bring the ground closer to you. And just relax your neck here. So you can stay static here, or you can move side to side into a side lunge. From side to side, you can walk your hands forward and back. Just kind of find what would work for you in this moment. I'll just settle in. Take one more inhale in. Exhale out completely. Then we'll slowly walk our hands to the top of the mat. You're in a runner's lunge, and then you'll step that back foot forward into a forward fold. And then we're going to roll up one vertebra at a time back into mountain pose. So shoulders pulled down, head comes last, palms face forward. So we're going to do a couple more standing poses. So we're going to work on our pyramid pose that I introduced on Tuesday. So we're going to step our left foot back, and your hips are facing forward. So you want to pretend like you're on either two railroad tracks, two skis, whatever works for you. So our hips are facing forward. We'll bring our hands to our hips just to make sure our hips are square. And when they feel square, we'll start to bring our hands to our bottom like you're putting your hands in jeans pockets. And then on our inhale, we're going to arch back, head drops for a little back bend. And then exhale, start to rise back to center, and then forward, hinging at our hips. And then we'll release our hands forward, and then hands to mat or blocks, yogi's choice. So you want to make sure we have that flat back, but our neck is relaxed. And we want to make sure that front leg, you're not locking out your knee. So you want to have like a micro bend in your knee. And we want to shift our right hip back, left hip forward to square off our hips. It's a nice hamstring stretch. And then on our next exhale, we'll step that back foot forward into our forward fold. And then inhale, curl your spine up, one vertebra at a time. Head comes last. Okay, then from here, so we're gonna step our right foot back into that wide stance, making sure your hips are forward, hands on hips. Remember, you're on those two railroad tracks or skis, keeping a tall spine. And then we'll start to bring our hands in our jeans pockets, bring our elbows together. Then inhale, arc our back, arching our back, head drops. And then exhale, come back to center, release your hands, sweep them forward, hinge at your hips, and then into our pyramid pose. So hands on blocks or the mat, releasing our neck. Start to shift that right hip forward, left hip back. And then on our next exhale, step that back foot forward. Take that forward fold. And then we'll curl our spine one vertebra at a time. And head comes last. And we got some one balancing pose I want to do today. So we'll do our tree pose. We've done this before. So we're going to ground into our right foot, and you have your different variations. So you can create a little kickstand with your left leg, with your left knee facing to the left, arms by your side, or you can go to inner left, or inner right calf or inner right thigh, arms by your side, or you can bring hands to prayer, or you can grow your branches in your tree pose. So find a focal point that you focus in on. And if you fall out, that's okay. You just get back in your pose again. Take a few more breaths. Take one more inhale in. Exhale out completely. Release your arms and then your leg. Shake it out. So now our left foot will be our balancing foot. And then take any variation that you would like. So remember the kickstand by your ankle, inner calf or inner thigh. Find your arms. You can be by your side, prayer, or extend them tall. And a real nice challenge for future reference is to close your eyes. That will give you quite the balance challenge. Take one more inhale in. Exhale out completely. Release your arms and then your legs. Shake it out. So we're going to find our way back to the mat. So we're going to inhale, sweep our arms up tall. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, we're going to step back into downward facing dog. And then release their knees. Okay. So we're going to do a back bending pose. So we're going to find our way to our belly. We're going to do Sphinx pose. So we've done this one before. So we're going to bring our arms about shoulder distance apart. So we're going to press into, I'm going to move the other way. So we're going to bring, so as I said, our arms are shoulder distance apart, fingers are wide. So we're going to press into our forearms and lift our chest. So our legs are straight behind us, chest lifts forward, gaze is forward. So this is a nice gentle back bend. And when you're doing a vinyasa flow, you can always do this option for the back bend part instead of cobra. I really like this version. Take a few more rounds of breath. Take one more inhale in. Exhale out completely. And then we'll release our chest. And let's stack both hands on top of each other. And then bend our knees, flexing our feet, and then windshield wipering our legs from side to side. All right. So I'm going to introduce a shoulder stretch that can be intense. It's called shoulder pigeon. If this does not work for you, do thread the needle instead, where you go into tabletop and then sweep your arm under your body. So what you'll do, we're going to place our right hand underneath our right shoulder, just bending our elbow, and then we'll extend our left arm like a T. And then from here, we'll place our forehead on the mat, and then we'll lift our right leg up and over. So you're feeling a stretch in your, like in your shoulder, in your left shoulder, that is. And then, as I said, if this is too much for you, do the thread the needle instead. So your right toes can touch the ground. If not, that's okay. Take a few more breaths here. Take one more inhale in. Exhale out completely. And then roll back to center. And then bend your knees and windshield wiper motion. So we'll do the other side. So the right arm will tee out, left hand under shoulder. I have to change sides. And then we lift that left leg up and over. Making sure the right side of our head's on the mat. And remember, go into the other variation if that's easier for you, because you know your body better than anybody else. Take one more inhale in, exhale out completely, and then slowly unravel. Back on our belly, forehead on hands, bend your knees, windshield wiper from side to side. Okay. And then from here, let's make our way to a seat. And let's extend our legs long. Our legs long in front of us, so we're in like an L position, as I like to say. And then we'll bring our hands behind us, so our fingers are facing towards us. And then from here, we're gonna press into our hands and lift our chest up for a little back bend. And then slowly release, and then we'll rise up tall, sweep our arms up tall. Then exhale. We're going to take a half forward fold. So our arms are right in front of us, like we're grabbing that block, that yoga block. We're just hovering over our legs. Take a few breaths here. And then exhale, take that wide-legged forward fold, releasing. Hands can be around ankles, shins. You can grab your feet, the outside of your feet. Just grounding your sit bones into the ground and making sure you're not locking out your knees. And then slowly on your next inhale, curl your spine up one vertebra at a time. Okay, so we're gonna do a gentle boat pose. This is an ab exercise I like to do in these type of practices. So we're gonna bend your knees, feet flat on the floor, and your hands are right by you. And then we'll lower to our forearms. And then from here, we'll lift our legs up to either that 90-degree angle, or you can straighten your legs, keeping your feet flexed. So we're gonna hold our little supported boat pose for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll lower legs to low boat for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release your legs. Let's take a long body stretch, like that good morning stretch, like we did at the beginning of class. And then from here, let's hug our knees into chest, rocking from side to side. And then from here, let's release our left foot to the mat, and our right leg is bent. So we're gonna do what's called a half happy baby. So we're gonna grab either the outside of our right foot or grab a peace finger around our big right toe, grabbing our ankle or behind our knee. We're gonna start to guide that right knee towards right armpit. So your left leg can either be bent or extended in front of you. This is really a nice, gentle yoga stretch. Take a few more breaths here. Take one more inhale. Exhale out completely. Let's release our right foot, and we'll do the other side, or left foot. So either grab the outside of your left foot, grab the peace finger around the big toes, ankles behind your knee, and start guiding that left knee towards your left armpit. Take one more inhale in. Exhale out completely. Just release into our both feet flat on the floor. And now we're going to do our supine twist. So we're going to tee out our arms or cactus your arms, yogi's choice, lifting your feet off the mat, creating a little tabletop with your shins. And then from here, we'll drop our knees towards the right, grounding our shoulders into the mat. Your gaze can be up or to the left. And then inhale back to center, twist to the left. Gaze can be up or to the right. And then inhale back to center, hugging your knees into chest. And we have a couple minutes before Shavasana, so you can do any final stretches of your choosing. You can do like a bridge pose, a full happy baby, legs up the wall, any stretches you need that would complete your practice. So just take those moments to find what you need before we close practice. And if you're doing a two-sided pose, make sure you do the other side. And then when you're ready, try to find your way into your final resting pose of choice. So you have a bunch of options. You can do regular Shavasana with your legs extended in front of you, arms by your side, palms up or down. Supta Baddha Konasana is a personal favorite of mine, with the soles of your feet together, knees out. Your arms can either be by your side, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly is a nice option. You can take a fetal position. You can keep your knees bent if you're on your back, or you can take Shavasana on your belly if you need to mix it up a little bit, or take your traditional seated meditation. So find your final resting pose of choice. Settle in, taking in the final moments of your yoga practice, melting into your mat, resting your eyes, and doing one last body scan from the crown of your head down through your neck, arms, legs, feet. And then today's meditation is from my Journey to the Heart book by Melody Beattie, which I read out frequently. And today's reading is called Love All of Yourself. Do more than just accept yourself, tolerate yourself, put up with yourself, endure who you are, love yourself. There came a time in my life when I could simply no longer put up with putting up with myself. I had talked about self-love. I had said out loud that I loved myself. The words were good, but they didn't ring true. I had to actually begin experiencing and practicing love for myself. It became the next step on my path. To live in a magical way, one in which you connect with the universe, loving yourself isn't optional. It comes first. To hear the quiet voice of your heart so that you know when you're being led, to hear your thoughts so that you can see what you really believe. To trust and open your heart, you must first experience love for yourself. Have you abandoned yourself? Let yourself see if that's true. Feel if that's true. Then learn to experience the love for yourself. Learn to love the way you handle things. Love your unique way of learning, growing, and seeing things. Love where you've been. Love what you've done. Love where you are and what you're doing now. Love how you look, smell, and feel. Love the color of your eyes, the color of your hair, and the radiance in your heart. Love how you laugh. Love how you cry. Love your mistakes and love all the good you've done. Love it all. Love all of you. Step into love for yourself, and the universe will reflect that love back to you. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, wrists and ankles, and start to transition into a fetal position on the right or left side. If you're seated, you can stay seated. Take a few breaths there. And then when you're ready, slowly transition back into your seated position, cross-legged, grounding into your sit bones. And we'll do one last cleansing breath. So inhale, sweep your arms up tall, and then exhale, hands to heart center. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I hope it was beneficial. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.